Hey, Dennis, we're live. Hope everything's going good with everybody. And I have posted if anybody wants to get on. It says there's four people waiting, but I guess they're heading. So I did have a question I brought up. What time slot do you like best? 7:30, 8 o'clock. Um, I can do any three. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Today I was a little busy. Actually, I could have got on at 7:30. I didn't think at first I'd have time at 7:30. Hey, Flowers. Hope all is good. I'm a little tired, a little sore. Been moving a lot of hives the last 2 days, yesterday and today, or I should say last yesterday evening and today, and put out some swarm traps. So let me know if you have a preference. I know it's 10 watching now, so comment and let me know what you think, what time's best. Hey, Clay, hope everything's good. Whoa, cold. Wow, it's 71 degrees right now at my place, Southwest Ohio, and it got up to 79 today. So spring is here. Last week and this week, we've been 60s and 70s every day. Hey, Collector Rick, and it's been crazy. Um, the silver maple trees and the red maple trees have bloomed. The silvers are finished. The reds are about finished. Maybe some of the ones in the more in the shade. Yeah, Rick. And the ones in the north side still might be blooming. The um, creeping cherry trees are blooming. The tropical magnolia trees are blooming. The daylily, not daylily, dandelions, not the dandelions. Yeah, um, are blooming. I see my red buds are getting red on the tree, but they're not open yet. But they will be in a few days. But things change real quick weather-wise. So 7:30 is fine, Dennis. Yeah, I'll put it back to 7:30 next week then. That sounds good. And tomorrow we're supposed to have tomorrow tonight and tomorrow early tomorrow, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We're supposed to get around the thunderstorms, and then 2 o'clock in the afternoon we got a high chance or a medium chance of severe storms coming through tomorrow. But it's supposed to be 70 degrees still in the low 70s, and then on Friday it's supposed to be decent. Saturdays, I mean 60s. Saturdays, yeah, Friday and Saturday in the 60s. Sunday's supposed to be in the 70s, but then we're supposed to get storms, severe storms again. And by Monday morning, a high of it's supposed to go down to 29. Then a high for Monday is 32. So might not even get above freezing. And then Monday night into Tuesday morning, I think it's supposed to go down to 26, 26, 27. Hey, Pennsylvania. And then Tuesday, it's supposed to go up to 41 and then like 35 or 34 on Wednesday, and then get up to 41 on Wednesday morning, then 41 on Wednesday, and then back up to 50, 60s. And then there's no more frost. The coldest nights then are like mid to upper 30s. There's a couple of them the next week, and then it's 40s and 60s the last week of March. So we got like 3 days. Hey Keith, we got 3 days of winter coming, and we got so much blooming right now, as I mentioned, dandelions, um, creeping cherries, willows, Both the silver and red maples are blooming, but that's all going to end Monday. But that happens every year. March is, we can still get a foot of snow in March, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen this year. So no snow forecasted. So the hives I got over here, right up there, right there. There's six over six hives. They just got moved behind my barn so people can't, so my neighbors can't see them. So I'm hiding them. I'll have 12 of them sitting there so nobody can see them. Hey, James. Um, so that's good deal. I built a stand and I moved 4 hives today on my prairie number 4. So now I'm down to my 4 hives behind me that my neighbor knows about. Those are my 4 official hives. And then I have my 4 hives in the wood color and purple lid horizontal hive that's over my shoulder. And then in the back, next to that, I have 3 hives in there. So, well, right now there's only 1 hive in each one. So that'll be 7 hives. And then down the hill, another 30-foot, 25-foot drop. I have 3 hives down in. It's a little. I got like a lane going through the woods, and I've always had a little platform there with a little bench that I would sit and watch the deer walk down below me. And I actually shot a deer out of it a few years ago with my bow through the woods. So actually, it's going to be my new deer spot. Plus, I got 3 hives there on that little platform, and my bench is there to sit behind them. I have to post a picture about that. Hey, Billy Lee. So that'll give me 14 hives on my property still, even though I'm only allowed to have 4. My neighbor can only see 4. I got the rest of them pretty much hidden, and she has no clue. Those big boxes I got in the backyard are hives. So what she doesn't know is better. So let me unpeg this note. Um, I had a friend of mine who's a beekeeper that lives about, I don't know, 15 miles north of me. He lives on the northwest side of Cincinnati, where I'm dead west of Cincinnati, um, on the west side, close to Indiana. And he runs about 70 hives, and he went through all his hives yesterday and today, and he texted me and told me that he found drone larvae in almost every one of his hives. Only a couple didn't. So I went and checked my hives, and guess what? Same deal. So we're right on schedule with swarm season. So I guess they'll be getting capped here this following next 7 days, next 5 to 10 days, I should, 5 to um, so they were like 4 to 6 day old, so they'll be getting capped in like the 3 and 6 days, and then basically almost 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks after that, I'll have walking drones in the hives, which puts me about at the end of March, the 1st of April, and that's about right. That's about when I see drones walking in my hive. Is right around the 1st of April. And I was starting to think, I document when I catch my earliest swarms, and the earliest I've ever caught a swarm was March 27th. Um, so we're pretty much on par, or maybe a little early with the drones starting with the hives. And that's only because the last 2 weeks we've had all this pollen and nectar coming in the hive, and every hive has now got 4 or 5 frames of brood in them. So Queen's actually is in full force. Hey, Keith. So spring is definitely trying to get a foothold in the Southwest Ohio area. But like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be 3 days of winter. Monday, it's going to be really nasty. 29 for a low and a high of 32, and then a low Tuesday morning of 18 degrees. So that's what I meant to say. 18 on Monday, the 18th supposed to be on Tuesday morning, it's supposed to go down to 18. So that's going to be cold. And then Tuesday highs like 35, and then Wednesday's 41, and Thursday's 56 or 58, somewhere in that ballpark. So 3 days of winter, everything's going to be back freezing again. Hey, Bill, good to see you on here. So I did get all my hives built. All 10 of them are built. All but one bottom board's not built. I'm looking since I convert them to the warm way. I ran out of pieces for the sides of the bottom board. So I got them on order through and they'll be coming in Thursday, and I have those finished up this weekend. And then it's going to be cold. So, oh, there's Bill. All right.
Oh,
Hey, Bill.
camera's not right. Let me fix my camera.
Yeah,
Is that better?
I'm glad you got on.
Yeah. I won't be on here long. I'll be on a couple minutes and just came in and say hi to everybody and see how everybody is. And
Yeah.
yep. So
So you're a little loud for me, so I'm going to turn down my end as soon as I can get it. Yeah, I had it up high. Wonder why.
that better?
So, well, you were good. It was just my end in StreamYard.
Ah, okay.
So, how warm did you get today? We got up to 79 today.
We were in the 80s.
You in the 80s, okay.
Yep.
So you beat me a couple degrees.
Yeah, we were in the 80s.
Then I was telling everybody Tuesday morning we're supposed to go down to 18 degrees.
Yeah, we got a cold front coming through this evening because I was just outside and you can feel the chill in the air.
We got storms tomorrow, but it's supposed to be 70 still. And then
Yeah.
cold front's supposed to come through on Sunday night into Monday morning.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, and my business is coming along. Website's almost finished.
That's good.
So I'll be posting that either next Tuesday or the Tuesday after that.
Yeah.
Just got to add a little bit more to it. And I tasted that hive I extracted out of that fourth floor of the house 3 weeks ago. I guess it's been now. It's sweet, honeydew, spotted lantern honeydew honey, but it's sweet because
It's
it's got
sweet.
probably 3 years of honey mixed in with it.
Oh, okay.
And I was telling everybody, my friend that lives up north of me, Bob, he runs about 70 hives, about 15, 20 miles north of me in the northwest side of Cincinnati. He's got drone larvae in almost all his hives.
Really?
And I know my bigger one's got the same thing. So it's pretty much right on schedule, all the bees for when they're going to be swarming. Bees
Well, that's good.
walking about the 1st of April, which is pretty typical, or the end of March. And that's usually when I can graft. So it looks like I'll be able to graft the last day or two of March or the first 2 days of April, depending on the weather of that week. Because all those drones will be flying about the same time like queens will be flying, about the third week of April. So, yeah.
Mm.
Well, how'd your doctor appointment go?
It went about as well as I expected it to go.
All right, that's good. Yeah, and I had my Social Security meeting this morning and with my financial advisor and all that. So I'm doing all that fun stuff. And on the 22nd of this month, I can apply for my Medicare, all that fun stuff. Well, that's what I've been doing lately.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep getting the Medicare calls too,
Yeah.
and I keep hanging up on them.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I say hello, and if they don't answer, then I know it's one of those robocalls that are going on, and then I hang up.
Yep. Just hang up on them.
Yeah.
Then
So,
every now
yeah.
and then every now and then, if they ask me if I have Part B and C, I'll say, "Well, I've got Part B or I've got Part C," and they'll transfer me to an operator.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell the operator, "Look, dude, I got VA. I don't need Medicare. Quit calling me."
Yeah. I don't have A or B yet, or
Yep.
D, the prescription one. So, yeah, I'm a little sore today moving. I built a stand and moved 4 hives today. I moved my 6/6 hives behind my barn so my neighbors can't see them. So out of sight, out of mind. Since I'm only allowed to have 4 hives on my property.
When did that change?
Well, that's a state Ohio law. If you got less than 5 acres, you're only allowed to have 2 per acre. And I got 2.954 acres. So that means I only got 2 acres that I can put bees on. And two hives per acre. So that leaves me 4 hives. If I had 0.45 more acres, I could have 6 hives, but I don't. So actually, I've been talking to my neighbor below me. He used to have a horse farm. There used to be horses below me. That's borders my property, and it's 2.14 acres. And I called him last winter, early winter, if he would be thinking about selling it. He said he would. So I'm going to be giving him a call probably this week or next week. Spring fever, good
Yeah, then
time to
you have
call.
8 hives. You're good at that
Then I
point.
can have once you get 5 acres in Ohio, you're considered a farmer, and there's no regulations then. I can have as many as I want. So it's just one of those Ohio things. I got a neighbor that lives across me, and she complains about everything. She complains when I have my fire, which I'm allowed to burn in my property, as long as it's in a fire pit. And there's 3 feet clearance around it. She used to complain that I used to leave a light on in the middle of my house when I was building my house back in '92. She complained. A 30-watt bulb. And she's on 5 acres, I'm on 3 acres. She would just complain about it. She complained to the other neighbor about he had a trailer and was parked on the front side of his house, and she complained about that.
Wow.
Yeah, she's just not a crabby old lady.
Crabby old Karen.
Yeah, yeah, she's a Karen, that's for sure. So she complained to the county that I live in, and they just follow the state of Ohio regulations. They don't have any themselves, the
Ah,
county. So, in
not
fact,
yet,
our
anyway.
county doesn't even have a bee inspector. Every, every other county in Ohio has a bee inspector except for Hamilton. And there's more hives in Hamilton County than anywhere.
That's because they don't have a bee inspector.
So it's kind of funny. So that's
Wow.
why I changed my background used to show my 16 hives. Now I show my backyard and my 4 hives. But I was
There you
telling
go.
everybody on the back of my barn over here, I got those 2 big monster horizontal hives, and one has 4 hives in it, and the other one has 3 hives in it that she don't know about. And then down, I live on top of a mountain or a big hill, and down at the bottom of my hill, the other guy's property is. I got 3 hives hidden down there that she doesn't know about.
Well, let's just hope she's not on your YouTube, because if she is, she knows about it now.
Yeah, she doesn't go on my YouTube. So she doesn't even know I do YouTube.
Yeah. Wow. Well, y'all have a good evening. I got a couple other things to do. I just want to jump on and say, hey, see how everybody is. And you have a good evening, Tom.
All right, you too.
All right. Good night.
Yep, good night, and I'll catch you next Monday on yours.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. All right, that was good for Bill to hop on for a little bit. It's always good to talk to somebody else. Yeah, I registered mine too, Rick, with the state. My beekeeper ID number. Used to be $5 a proper that you had bees on. Now it's $50 flat fee. So it doesn't make any if you have one apiary or two apiaries or four apiaries or six apiaries. It's $50. So I'm supposed to have a bee inspector come out and check my hives, but since there isn't one for my county, I don't expect it to happen. There used to be a guy that would come, Randy. He quit. He quit doing it when they made this change. It just happened last. The bill got passed last year, so it was effect this year, first of the year, and he quit. He quit. He wouldn't even check my hives the last 2 years. He just would give me my registration paper. So he just asked me, changing any way that you're not treating your hives? I said, nope, doing the same thing I've always done. Because okay, you're good. So kind of funny. So I'm going to keep my bench up. So I'll be able to put on my bench. I'm going to shorten it 7 feet in the future. So be able to put like 12 hives on it, 10 to 12, depending on how much spacing I put. Right now I got 28 inches. No, I got 38 inches between entrances to entrance. No, I get the same ID number I got the same number every year. Well, I got a new one this year, but that's because the new changes. But in the past few years, it was always the same ID number. So it's kind of crazy. I don't think that's normal, Rick. Ohio, bill. I don't know what bill it was called, 96, whatever it was. Um, New regulations. I got a new number this year. In fact, I had to like fill out the whole new form that, yeah, I'm McApee's, I'm Tom Wayner, I live on this property. I have 3 other properties. I keep bees on. Where are they located? Hey Garrett, Honey Farms. Hey Ripple Effect. So I got a whole new I think they got a whole new system, computer system, and they didn't update the old system, import any of the information. So I think everybody had to re-register. You know, Linville, Tennessee. I don't think I've ever been to that part of Tennessee. Maybe I've driven through it. I've been in a lot of Tennessee, but that's more the western part, not as much. So yeah, Bill was on. He said he had to do some stuff, so I guess he'll be popping in and out. So I did get my 10 hives all built. Um, all the lids and 9 of the 10 bottom boards. I got to get 4 more end rails from Rossman. That's where I bought those from. The first 4 from. I bought those at Nobby, so I would pick them up. So I think I'll be going through my. I'm going to do Demaray at least on hive my 2 end hives on my 4 because those are last year queens that went through a flow. The other 2, they swarmed, and I got daughters in there, and they swarmed towards the end of May, so they didn't go through the middle of May to the end of May, so they went through maybe a week of flow, and that wasn't even a big flow. It was just the last linden tree, basswood trees blooming in clover. So those queens shouldn't swarm on me. So I'm going to do Demaray on the other 2. I might do Demaray on all 4 of them anyway, just to get more honey. And do kind of what Keith does. So, yeah, I don't have supers on yet, Keith, but after this cold spell that we're supposed to get, I'm sure it's going to get a little colder for you. Tuesday, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Um, but probably the third week to the fourth to the end of March, I'll be putting supers on. Yeah, Rossman's got some good prices, but I my last six I bought from um Beeline, and a little bit more expensive, but they're better boxes. And I like the migratory lids a lot better. I actually like the way they built how I had to assemble the hive better um, with the Beeline product line. It's the first time I bought any woodenware, unassembled woodenware from them. So I was kind of doing a little comparing. The shipping on Rossmann was actually more expensive than Beeline getting free shipping because I bought enough woodenware. So it was less expensive buying from Beeline than buying from yeah, I wax. I don't call it wax dip anymore because some people that's all they do. I wax boil mine, so I changed my language a little bit just so people know I boil my woodenware. Um, I'm going to keep the two 8 frames and the two 10 frames. I'm going to be selling actually four of the 10 frames and two of the 8 frames when I do my classes on April. So the first two Saturdays in April, which is the 4th and the 11th. I'm going to offer my nuke and the hive with bees in it for them to be able to buy as a package. Last couple of years, some of my students would ask if I sold the hives too, besides just the nuke. So my answer this year will be yes. Are the no wild cherry for me either, but the nursery weeping cherries are blooming in my area, but not the wild cherry, the native cherry plant. So I'm hoping to sell 4 to 6 hives during my classes, and then after that, I haven't put those on the website yet, but those will be going on the web. Depending on how if I sell all 6 hives, um, I'll be putting those. Hey, Dave, I'll be putting those on the website. 4 of those hives are getting wax dipped, and I'm moving them to that farm. Do you deliver? Well, I but they're already built, so it would take a huge box. So I don't know how much that would cost, Dave. Yeah, free delivery. I don't know how a assembled hive would cost a lot. I'd have to put them in separate boxes. Yeah. And each one of my hives consists of a solid bottom board, warm way with a T entrance on it. Um, 2 deep boxes, a medium, shallow, and a steel queen excluder and a lid. I don't have the inner cover. I'm gonna let I actually will cut out the double bubble wrap and make. I gotta make those inner covers for them out of double bubble wrap. When I do my classes, I explain how that's so much better than a wooden inner cover because a lot of times I'll just peel it back halfway and look at the first 2 frames, which is usually honey and pollen, and then the next 2 frames usually brood. And by then, I can don't need to check a whole lot more after that. Did Chris get in touch with you? Dark honey. I got some dark honey this year, and I got some sweet, smoky barbecue flavored honey from that cutout. Um, I guess there's a lot of Tree of Heaven downtown Cincinnati, and that's where the bees would be flying. That I did my cutout since it was just on the west end of Cincinnati. In fact, they call it the west end of Cincinnati. Um, and so if they flew west, they'd be hitting the whole hill, which is Mount Echo Park. So above the house was Mount Echo Park, and but if they fly east, then they're downtown, and I'm sure there's a lot of Tree of Heaven downtown. So that hive's been in that house 3 to 4 years. So I'm sure there was some honey in there that wasn't from the Tree of Heaven, from the spotted lantern fly, honeydew honey. But there's definitely you can taste the smoke and the barbecue. But since there's regular spring honey in it, it's sweet. Doesn't have that bad aftertaste after it. It's actually pretty. I like it pretty good because it doesn't have that aftertaste that spotted lantern honey does. So I'm going to be bottling it. I'm going to sell it. So right now I got 50, almost 60 pounds of honey. I think in another couple more days, it's still draining. I did crush for um, somebody said crush the comb up and put it in a ball. And I kind of did that. And then I spreaded it back out of all of it. And it's still draining from the frames. I think it's going to be finished this week. And then when it warms back up, I'll put them out to the bees to finish up. But 2 days ago, last 2 days, I've had buckets that I emptied that I saved for them to finish a little bit left out. It's inside the bottom of the bucket, and the bees weren't hardly touching it. So, yeah, wow, that's really bad. Of of the 10 hives I bought, I had one deep where there was a pine knot, that was like 3/4 of the way through the 3/4 inch. So I say half inch was a knot. The knot wasn't there anymore, it popped out. So I filled it in with Type Bond 3 and sawdust to fill in the bottom board. And then one of the boards from Rossmann that I bought, my A-frames, had a saw blade cut like an inch and a half high in the bottom of the box. So I had to do the same thing there. I had to put the uh, fill that in with filler. Well, I might be shipping unassembled woodenware in the future, um, and I'll check the weight and the boxes. Yeah, people ship crap. I wouldn't do that. So there was just two of them that I had that wasn't warped or nothing like that. They had one board that I had to glue three boards together that want to warp on me a little bit, but once I put them in the end slots, they'll be fine. So yeah, so I'm hoping, like I said, get my website up in a couple more weeks. Um, I don't have my injection molding date yet. When I'm going to start receiving those, so they're still working that out, getting timeline of getting the molds made for the T entrance. Yeah, ripple effect. It's kind of funny you mentioned that. My friend that's a commercial beekeeper on the east side of town, it's an hour drive for me east. Um, he used to buy all his woodenware from assembled from Beeline, a few years ago, and he was actually the distributor for Beeline, and he would buy hundreds. I mean, he would buy whole semi full of woodenware on pallets, and he had a whole bunch of them that either weren't stapled or they weren't glued together. It was all assembled stuff. He's a year older than me, so he's slowing down on assembling it. So he's buying it assembled, and it was crappy, and it was all mixed up. It wasn't just on one pallet, so he had to go through. Well, he actually called me and asked me if I wanted help. So we went through. We went through about the whole size of my barn, 8 feet high, of woodenware, finding the good and pulling out the bad. And Beeline wouldn't replace it, and wouldn't pay for his time and energy um, that he spent fixing their issue. So he fired him. He decided not to buy and sell their equipment any hardware anymore. That's one reason why I wouldn't use them anymore either, because of all the bad deal he had. But I tried them again, but I bought unassembled this time, some of them myself. So I don't know. So yeah, ripple effect. That's a bummer. So I didn't catch the email, Rick. Who did you buy your wooden stuff from? Did you mention it? No, I didn't catch that. Hey, DC Dave, I will be shipping my tea entrances, um, 2 packs and 10 packs. So that's going in the website right now as we speak. Um, basically. Hey, Ravenshire, and I'm going to check to see what it costs to ship um, fully assembled bottom boards. I'll be definitely doing bottom boards. So, because I'll be selling the T entrances installed on the bottom boards, or you can install them yourself. I still got to build a little hive hive spacer, entrance spacer piece with the T entrance for the normal way. Yeah, it was an 18. It was a semi load full, and 30% of it was crap mixed in with the rest of it. And they had some bad employees. They either didn't glue it or didn't put or screw it. It was screws, I think, not staples, or didn't screw it together. So yeah, I think eventually they paid for replacing all the bad ones, but not his time and effort. But he still dropped them out. I put a picture on that swarm trap. The scouts tore it down. That's funny. I put 3 swarm traps out today just because, like I said, the earliest I've ever got a swarm call was March 27th. Typically, it's around the first week of April, and those usually are the big ones. The first 10 days of April. Those are the ones I really like. And 40 liters is way too small because you won't catch any of those swarms. You only catch the secondary swarms from those big swarms. or you'll catch a month later swarms from nukes and from small hives. If you make your boxes like I do, mine are all my storm traps are at least 68 liters. Some of them are 70 liters, 72 liters. I catch those 10 to 15 frame swarms, the ones that are 5, 6, 7 pound swarms in those babies. And I still catch the smaller ones in them too. So, yeah, so I like to get them out 2 to 3 weeks before they swarm. So, Saturday, I'm taking 7 of them out to my brother's farm and to his friend's farm. That's only a mile away. And I'm going to put 3 of them at my brother's and 4 of them. I'm going to actually go and take a bench out. I'm setting. He's got 4x4x10s. So I'm going to take out 4 concrete bricks, some insulation. What is like a double D? I don't know what you mean by that ripple effect. I run all my hives while I'm doing it this year. Is I'm going to have a deep box, a medium queen excluder, and then another deep box on top of that. And I'll put another medium, then another deep box, kind of like a Demaray. But I'll do the Demaray the first time. I like to do brood management. Well, I'll take brood from the bottom box, especially cat brood, and I'll move 2 or 3 frames and put it up in my deep box. And then I'll move comb frame down in the lower box so the queen can keep laying for a week. I'll actually will throw a honey frame in the middle of the brood frame from the outside, from frame number 1 or frame number 10, and that really throws a wrench into their working. So they have to first spend a day moving all that honey up into my medium super, which is perfect. So that honey frame can be laid in. So sometimes if there's 6 frames of brood in there, I'll go 2 brood, honey frame, 2 brood, honey frame, 2 brood. And then outside of that will be 2 more combs. So she'll have 4 legs, 2 of them to lay on right away, and then 2 more in the middle. That's 4 frames. It typically takes her 3 days to lay up 4 frames, 3.5 days. So that basically gives me 2 weeks. And if I go in my hive every 2 weeks and I play that little game with them, I'll do the Demaray the first time, and then I'll do the brood, moving brood from the bottom up and put honey frames in the middle. And that if I do that 2 to 3 more times, that'll get me to the end of May and swarm season's over. So that's my little trick I do. Sometimes. Now, if it's a brand new queen that's never gone through a flow, I won't even do that. I'll just do it the one time like a Demaray and then let her go to town. Because everybody know a no flow queen does not swarm 99.99% of the time. That's what you meant. I do 18-gallon totes, so it fits 8 frames, 8.5 frames, 8 deep frames, and then 1 medium frame. If you start putting the deep frames in, it hits the sides and the 2 end pieces kind of separate a little bit. It's not a real big deal because it's a swarm trap. So you can put 9 frames in it. There's then 6 inches, almost 6 inches of depth underneath the frames. So it's like a deep and a medium. So empty down at the bottom is a medium size. So deep and a medium on those totes. I think they're about 16 inches tall. So close to 16 inches. So 10 inches for the frame, roughly 6 inches underneath it. And they hold, like I said, 8 or 9 frames. So they work perfect. I did, when I buy these totes, they're 68.34 liters, 68 liters, a little bit bigger than 68 liters. Yeah, 8 frames. I do 8 frames in mine, 8 or 9 if I put a medium frame in. Sometimes I do that, just they might build it out for me. The ones I put out in Indiana, which I won't be able to check every week or every 2 weeks, I'll put that medium frame in there and maybe I'll get that built out with comb. So yeah, they seem to work. I kind of look I well, I learned that by experiment. I had a hive sitting that was empty, that was a deep on top. I had comb frames in it, and then I had a empty medium super underneath it. And that was my swarm trap in my yard, and it would catch a swarm every year. And it would pick that box over any of my other boxes that might have been double deeps and with comb in them. And I think it was that empty space underneath it that's about a medium box size was the trick. So that's what I do. I'll be putting out 10 or 11 traps this year. I got 3 out now. I'm going to put 7 at the 2 farms, 3 and 4 of them. And then I have one more somewhere. I lost it. I misplaced it. I don't know where it's at. Um, I don't know where I put it. I put it somewhere. It was a clear one that I painted black or dark blue, and I had to repaint it because the paint kind of, so I was letting it air out. So I put it somewhere. I don't know where I put it. So I have to find my number 11. I looked for it a little bit today and I couldn't find it. So I hit it pretty good wherever I put it. I put it outside to air out, not get wet. I don't know where that be. Hey, Redfish, it's good to see you. So yeah, so that book of 40 liters is way too small, and they're heavy. And I put out 3 little posts just about an hour ago of my first 3 swarm trap. My first one I put out is literally 2.5 feet off the ground, but it's in the shade, all but maybe in the early morning before the trees get leaves in it. After that, they'll be in the shade all day long. The next one I is on sitting on a whiskey or bourbon barrel. Um, so that's what 3 feet high off the ground, and that one's on the north side of my friend's house, actually in front of his house, and I catch a swarm there every year. And the third spot I actually put on the ground, but this year I had a plastic tote, and I put that down first, and then I put the swarm trap on top of that, and that's about 10 inches. Hey, Randy, that's about 10 inches off the ground. So I got one at 10 inches, I got one at 2.5, 3 feet, 3 feet, and I got another one at 3 feet. And all 3 of those catch swarms every year. The key is I put them in the shade, and I put them by building structures, not trees, not tree lines, building structures. Bees are looking at those buildings trying to find holes in them. Then at my brother's farm, I'll be putting them. He's got a platform. I think I've had videos on it in the past. That's about 7 feet high. I can reach up to the top of it, but I don't like taking boxes off of it with bees in it. So there's a little step ladder. I put 3 boxes up on that platform, and those boxes are all within 3 feet of each other. And I catch every box catches a swarm in them every year. And when I build bobs, I'm going to build my stand. And what I do is I put down my concrete block. I guess those are about 6 inches. And then I put 4x4 on top of that. So it gives me about 10 inches high. And then I put a 2-inch high density board on top of my my two 4x4s. So that gives me another 2 more inches. So that gives me 12 inches off the ground. And it's a 10-foot board. So I'll put my 4 swarm traps right where my 4 hives would be, one at each end and two in the middle. And so those will be basically 12 inches off the ground. I'm not exactly sure where I'm putting it on his property yet. He's got 235 acres. It's got a lake and a big creek that feeds the Lawfrey Creek, the South Lawfrey Creek, feeds Lawfrey Creek in Indiana. So 5 of my swarm traps would be 3 feet or lower, and the other, actually, all but 8 of my hives would be 3 feet or lower, and then 3 of them would be at 7 feet. And I catch swarms in every one of them. But my key is most of them are on the north side, east side. If it's not on the north or east, it's got to be in sun. I would say from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night. Maybe the first couple hours in the morning and the last couple hours in the evening is the only sun that the hives should get. I kind of confirmed that. Mr. Ed, he used to put, I think, 6 swarm traps out, 3 on one side of the house and 3 on the other side of the house. And he complained one time that he never catches swarms in that side of the house. And that was the sunny side of the house. And I sent him, when he did his video, I sent a message to him. I said, Mr. Ed, the reason why you never catch swarms in those 3 boxes is because they're in the sun. You only catch swarms in the boxes you put in the shade. And he commented back to me and says, I was 100% correct. And then I checked with Randy Dirt Rooster, and he said the same thing. All his cutouts and all Mr. Ed's cutouts are on the north side of buildings or in the shade. That's not the north side, a house that's part of the house that's shaded by a big tree or something. So if you want to catch swarms, the ones I catch at my brother's farm comes from an Amish beekeeper. North of my brother's farm and north of my friend's farm is a pretty big Amish beekeeper. He probably runs 70, 80 hives on his farm. And I already talked to him. He does not treat his bees, and he knows they swarm. He doesn't do any. He puts them up. He puts his supers on them. He takes them off. He doesn't worry about swarming or nothing. Basically, and he knows I catch his swarms. So I'm catching at somebody else's bees, but they're like feral hives because they've never been treated. So, and I bring those to my place and I mix them with my VHS queens. So that's one reason why one of my reasons why I was able to become a treatment-free beekeeper, because I catch really good queens. And he actually told me he actually grafts the Amish beekeeper, and he tries to cut swarming down by grafting queens that don't swarm. But he still, out of his 70 hives, he still gets 5 or 6 swarms. And my brother sees them fly over from right over his woods, over his lake, right to my swarm traps. So now they'll be flying over Bob's property, then to my brother's property. So that's why I'm putting 4 of them at Bob's property, because he'll let me put hives on his place. My brother doesn't want me to put hives on his place, even though they're only a mile and a half north-south of each other. They actually have a common neighbor between them. Well, they used to have a common neighbor between them. There's a street that went in between here on both sides of the street, but now it's 2 neighbors. So there's going to be my 4 hives. I'm going to do array on them. The three I got down in the woods are three empty hives, so those are going to be new. Those are either going to be swarms or splits that I do. And on my other property, I got 12 hives on there. I have to check my notes. I think all but one or two of them are no flow queens, so I don't have to do a demarray on them, but I might do a demarray on two of them. So I think I'll be doing 6 hives altogether. 4 of them that I have to because I have to split them, and then 2 of them I really don't have to split. Do a demarray, but I am just because I'm going to do all 4 on my property on the flat here behind my back. If I lean this way, all 4 of those hives. Yeah, so ripple effect, you're right. And the ones I catch down on my friend's landscaping property, I think that's from another beekeeper. I think it's Southwest Ohio beekeeper. He's got hives about a mile and a half, 2 miles away. And the swarms I catch at the barber shop, um, I comes from my friend's hive, who has really good stock too. We switched stock a little bit. No, redfish, I don't treat. Um, for 5 or 6 years, my inspector Randy would come out to my property every year, and he would check for mites on 30% of my hives at the time. And he found one mite one time. So the last couple of years, he would just come by. We'd talk for a half an hour to an hour, and then he'd give me my certificate. He wouldn't even check my hives anymore. But like I said, my bottom boards are R20. So my bees stay down in the bottom box. They don't go up in the top box. Hey, Russell Koopman, how you doing? Does my knee? Well, let me finish. I'll answer that in a minute, Russell. Um, I do, like I said, I catch Amish swarms off my brother's place. Now my friend's Bob's farm. I'll be catching Amish swarms. Those are non-treated beehives. And then I have bought from 3 different VHS. I've bought anywhere from 1, 3, or 5 VHS queens and mixed them in with my genetics. And of course, I've been grafting since year number 2. I started grafting my second year beekeeping, 2019. And I always graft from my best hive um, that that survived winter size wise and honey wise and population this time of year. It's going to be hive number 13 or 16 this year, but 13 is my best hive. It was good last year, and then coming out of winter, it's huge. It's already in a triple deep. It's a big hive, and no treatment. And I put out 6 different predator mites that I put out way before I even became a beekeeper. Back in probably 1994 or 95, I started putting out 6 different predator mites to get rid of red spider mites that I have in my property. Thousands, millions of them. And in 2 weeks, they're gone. And there's a false pseudo scorpion mite that I promote on my property to reproduce. They're everywhere. They're in my house. They're in every part of the United States. I don't know about Alaska, but probably the warmer part of Alaska, there might be. Oh, from Indiana, from the Skinny Bee Man, Raven. He he I my first 2 or 3 came from him. He's about 45 minutes west of me in Indiana. Then I got some from Jason Briggs in West Virginia, and then my last ones came from Corey Stevens. So I don't think Oh, Tree City. Okay. Yep. Greensburg. Yeah, I've heard good things about their queens too. I have not bought any of the queens from them, but Morgan Smith has, and he's been over winter with them with no issues. Um, he only runs 4 hives though, because he lives in a subdivision, kind of. Hey, Rodney. So with my 7 predator mites, the way I run my hives so they're warm in the winter time, and I do the warm way versus the cold way in my hives. Um, I think all those play into me being healthier hives. The only thing I do is I help them with their gut. I feed them some of the essential oils a little bit in the fall time, so they have good guts going into winter time. So they're healthy hives, as healthy as I can get them. And but I don't put any chemicals in my hives, and I don't spray chemicals in my yard. This year I got crabgrass really bad, so I'm going to spot spray a little bit of my yard, which I don't like doing. Hey, Lamore. So I got 18 watching with Bob on. That's cool. So sold out. What sold out, Keith? Tree City? I'm missing all the Russell posted. What did Russell post? Let me go back up. Come on, mouse. Let me find your post. Hey, Randy. Well, now I can't find your Russell. I can't find your comment now. Oh, come on. I'm looking. Give me a second. Oh, Russell, you're going to have to shoot that question to me again. I don't remember what it was, and I couldn't find your comment, but maybe somebody else answered it. So Randy's on here. He saw me last year. I bought 5 of Corey Stevens VHS Queens that were mated with Chris Warner down in Florida, and they were nukes. Oh, how's my knee doing? You're right. It's it's doing really well. I mean, when I abuse it, like picking up 4 of those concrete blocks, 8 of them the last 2 days, picking up 2 by 4 by 10 boards, picking up beehives, full beehives strapped together. Um, it will bother me just when I go up and down steps, just a little bit. Just like, oh, there's that little pain in my knee going up and down steps, but I don't feel it walking. And I can twist on it as much as I want. Um, so I'm really abusing it. And when I really, really abuse it, um, um, it's just a little bit when I go up and down steps. Yeah, Randy, you got 3 of those nukes. You know, I didn't treat all 5 of those. I didn't treat, and 3 of them, 13 and 16, and number. Let me see, 12 swarm, 13 swarm. So 13, 15, and 16 are my 3 biggest hives. And 2 of them are my property and one's on the other property. It's got 12 hives, and 2 of them swarmed on them, and they made it through winter. They're just not as big because they swarmed in May 7th and May 16th. So they didn't have time to build up. Our swarm ends the last week in June. And this last year it was my birthday, so it ended on the 3rd week of June. That's when the basswood trees bloomed, and that was the end of the flow. So they actually, by the time they got mated queens, the second week of June, they had 1 week of flow. So they got just big enough to get through winter, but they're doing well. They're looking pretty good. So all 5 of them, without touching them, made it through winter. And I grafted off number 15 last year, and I'm going to graft off a number 13 this year. And I did one graft. The first graft I did in April, I did off the Amish swarm. That came from hive number 2 last year, and I did 2 grafts off of that. And then my summer solstice grafts came off of the Corey Stevens, Chris Warner nukes that I picked up from Randy and Cayman down here in Cayman's place. We just buy it. So yeah, so I think I'm pretty much done buying VHS queens. I might maybe in 3 years buy a few more just to mix in. Maybe I'll get some from Tree City. VHS queens. And I'll keep catching the Amish swarms every year. This might be my last year catching other people's. I'll do my friends, Matt Myers, always do him, but I might only put out 1 or 2 swarm traps outside of the Indiana ones at the Amish area. Swarms. I'll catch those swarms just to keep those genetics in my property mixed in with the VHS. Maybe since I've got some last year, maybe next year or the year after, I'll get probably 3 more VHS queens. Okay, I got the question. No, because if you saw Bob Beanie's post that he did, his YouTube post, the Golden West did pretty good, but the Proline VHS queens that came from University of Georgia that he didn't treat did the best. And quite honestly, he was shocked. And Dr. Beck did that study with Bob, that the daughters of those VHS queens did the best. Even the Golden West daughters did better than the original ones that were open mated with the drones from Bob's apiaries. And he had them at 7 different apiaries. It was a really good spread out test. Well, that's cool, redfish. So what was my best queen? The best queen, the 3 that from this year came from Corey Stevens and Chris Warner's nukes. It was Corey Stevens' VHS queens made it with his Italian queens made it with Chris Warner's Carney drones. So those did the best. And hive number 2, which is the Amish queen that I replaced with her daughter. I actually moved. I sold her that Amish queen, and after I grafted, I sold her daughter. And it's a good hive too. But since I grafted last year from her twice, I'm going to graft from the VHS this year. And then my summer solstice one will probably be the Amish queen. So that way I have 2 grafts or 3 grafts with the VHS, and then 2 grafts with the Amish queen. That way I keep mixing my genetics up a little bit. And then a wild form in here and there. But I'm to a point now that any swarms I catch, I'll let them in the box for a week, let them draw out the comb, and then I'm going to move the queen, sit her in a frame of food into a Jester nuke, and give her 3 frames to keep laying on, and I'll graft. I'll time this all in with grafting with my hives. So maybe third week of April I'll graft. So the swarms I catch the first 2 weeks of April, and then the last 2 weeks of April and the first week of May, I can replace all those queens with my grafted queens. So that graft that'll be one of the two. Yeah, I've heard the same thing, Dave, with Buckfast queens. I heard they're good on mites, but they're mean bees. My bees are gentle. I mean, I go out in what I'm wearing right now, t-shirt and shorts, and usually I can get through about 10 of all my hives are on a stand, and usually about the 10th high, I have to put a veil on. But a lot of times when I had the 16 hives, I'd start on each end and work to the middle. And by the time I got to the middle, I'd have to put a veil on just, just because I'm, bothering down the line. And that's about it. Uh, that's a great question. For me, it was 1 year. I mean, the second year of beekeeping, when I came out of winter the first year with 1 hive out of 2. I bought 3. Well, I bought 2 hives and a queen and did a split. I had to pinch 1 queen and combine. So I went in the winter with 2 and I lost 1. The following year, I learned how to graft. But I did have a mentor that basically told me what to do. So with a help, you can actually graft the second year. I mean, if you got a really good mentor and you want to learn how to graft, you could probably do it the first year. But you're overwhelmed the first year. So I did on my second year. I think if I remember right, I would graft like 15 cells. And I think the first time I grafted, I got 5 or 4 to take. And I think the next time I got maybe 25%, then I got 50%, then I got 99, 8% or 100% now. But I think my second year of grafting, um, I didn't close up my hive, my cell builder, and a virgin queen. I had 100% take. I had 20 out of 20 grafts my third year grafting, and a virgin queen flew in, and I went to pull the grafts like 3 days after I'm verified I had this many grafts to make my nukes up, and they tore down all but 2 of them, and they were going to tear those down. I caught it just before there was only 2 left. That's when I learned that now I keep my hive when I put my grafting frame I close that hive up for at least 3 days, maybe 4 days. That way, by the time I'm grafting on the third 3.5 days, I'm into the 7th day. They'll be getting sealed up in about another week. Then I'll open, not another week, in another day or day and a half. Then I'll open the hive up, let them out. And if a virgin tries to fly in, then they'll kill the virgin because they know they got cells. And they'll take their cells over a virgin for some reason. I've never had any issues after closing them up for 3 days after I put that cell in. You know, I learned just 2 years ago that I can graft 3 days and 2 hour old to 4 hour old larvae. So 0 to 4 hour old larvae. And I talked about that a couple weeks ago. The key is when you go to graft, pick a time anywhere 4, 8, or 12 hours before you graft. So I typically like to graft 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. when all the foragers are out flying and all that. But 3 days before I graft, I'll go into that queen that I'm going to graft from, which is going to be hive number 13. And I take I'll take a frame that's brown, not black and not off white. So a semi-used, really good comb frame. And I'll put that right in the middle of the brood. So I'll take a honey frame out, put that up on top, and put the or save it for after grafting. And then I'll put that right in the center of the brood and close her up. And I know by talking to my mentor and now experience that within an hour or within 2 hours, they'll have that frame completely cleaned up, typically in 20 minutes. And within 2 hours, that queen will be over there laying on it, on that frame that you just put in there. So within 2 hours, that queen's always on that frame laying. They smell that fresh comb. They know it's empty. And I don't know if they push the queen over there or she already knows it and she goes over to that frame and starts laying on it. And 3 days after that, since I put it in at 9 o'clock in the morning, that frame in, I know if I graft at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 days later on that fourth day, that frame is either going to be up to 6 hours. So I went from 9 to 3, that's 6 hours, or it's going to be an egg. So every queen on a brand new frame that's comb will start on a frame. She won't be dead center. She'll be a little bit lower than center, and she'll go in a spiral all the way around the frame. And then she'll keep that pattern going on the outside. So when I pull that frame out 3 days and 6 hours later, I can go back and find the eggs, and all the outside will be eggs, but there'll be a center, right in the center where she start laying, that will be up to 6-hour-old larvae. And there won't be any other larvae on that frame on either side. She'll have that whole side with eggs, and the other side she'll be on laying. Then I'll take her off, and she'll be laying up the backside with all eggs. So there's only one softball size, not even quite softball size, of larvae in the center of that frame. So I don't even have to hunt for my larvae. And I know that they got fed once, and then the 6 hour they got fed again. So typically I do it right around 4 hours versus 6 hours. So if I put the frame in at 9 o'clock, I'll graft at 1 o'clock right after lunch, which is what I do a lot of times, 1 to 2 o'clock. And I'm to the point now that I've done this enough time, I can actually find where the eggs are laying down on an angle. So one to be standing up, one to be there, one to be there, and one to be there. And I can start grafting right there. I actually know that first larvae is probably not even more than an hour old, or maybe no more than 2 hours old. And then I go from the outside circle back to the inside of the circle. The inside ones, the very inside, are the 6-hour-old larvae, and the outside of the circle before they turn into the eggs are just the half-hour to an hour-old larvae. And those are the ones I graft from. So all my grafts are 2-hour-old larvae, at worst case 4 hours. So I hear people say, I want to graft these larvae that's floating in all that royal jelly. Not me. If it's floating in royal jelly, that much royal jelly, it's been fed 3 times. It's at least 12 hours old, maybe 4 times or 5 times. So maybe it's a day and a half old larvae. Or, I mean, day old larvae. Typically, the ones I graft have just a little bit of royal jelly in them because they only been fed once. So if I wait 6 hours, they might have been fed twice. But the ones I'm grafting's only been fed once. The ones in the center got fed twice. But you can go 8 hours, you can go 12 hours. So I tell people to work, put that frame in the morning before you go to work at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, going to work late that morning. And then when you get home at 5 o'clock, graft. And you can do this. You'll have a bigger circle, and the ones in the middle will be 8 or 9 hours old larvae, but you can still find the first one that transitions from an egg to a larvae and then start grafting. So you're still at the 2 hour larvae when you're grafting. It's just that you got a bigger circle. There'll be more larvae to pick from. If that makes sense. But now since I'm retired, I'll just put it in the morning and then graft 4 hours later or 6 hours later. So that's how I do it. That's how I do my grafting now. And that's how I can graft 2 hour old larvae or less. In fact, I think I'm to a point now. I actually last year I grafted a couple of eggs that were leaning, and they made cells with them. I just scooped right underneath them because they're like on an angle, and picked them up and pushed them right into the cup. So I hope that made sense, everybody. I explained that I think 3 or 4 weeks ago how I do that. So a little repeat on that. But yeah, I started grafting my second year. So this was my 9th year now. So this will be my 7th year grafting. Yeah, I wear my glasses and I put I got some oversized number 2, I think I got from the dollar store some years ago. I put that over my glasses for as a magnifying glass. Now, redfish, I was thinking about selling queens this year, but not officially. I'll probably be selling some redfish. So shoot me an email at maccabees@maccabees.com. So they'll be either Amish or VHS queens. Either one, they're mite resistant queens. So Maccabees at maccabees.com. So I think I'll sell I let my virgins walk out of the cell in my incubator, so I could cage them and sell them, that day they emerge, and you'll be fine. Next, next day air. So yeah, but I haven't officially announced it, but I was thinking about it, and I'm not going to have that on my website yet. I don't know if I want to make that commitment yet. I'm not a young person, and I just went through my financial advisor this morning for Social Security and all that, and being an electrical engineer, my salary, and my wife working full time herself, both of us working full time. Um, I don't have, I'm financially sound. I should just put it that way. Luckily, been blessed being an electrical engineer. So that I didn't become an abstract artist like I originally was going to. Instead of becoming an engineer, different financial income. So, yeah, shoot me an email. I'll get out a few. I always give a few cells to my neighbors, just so they have good drones. That's another trick I do too. So every other year, so it'll be this year, I'll be giving them. They're always asking me for queens, so I'll be giving them. I give them virgin queens that I graft from. So it's not really hard to graft from. Also get a flashlight. So I carry I have 4-bit 100 watt. Well, they're LED bulbs, but they're 100 watt equivalent. I have 4 of them shining down on my frame. Plus, I have a um, flashlight to see those eggs and larvae. And I like the Chinese grafting tool the best. I like sliding underneath them and then pushing them off with the tongue. I do another little thing I do on my Chinese grafting tool. On a lot of them, they're not real flexible, the tongue. And I'll take a little piece of sandpaper, like 200 grit, 150 grit, 220 grit, and just rub the back side of it just to thin out the tongue a little bit so it would be a little bit more flexible. Good night, Russell. So that really helps with the giant Chinese grafting tool, and I usually grab about 10 of them, and I usually go through half of them or 10 of them because half of them are junk, or they needed, or I've used them too much. I need to throw them away, and I'll find one. Oh, I like that one, and I'll start and I can go to town on it. The biggest key is how to build up your cell builder. I used to do 10 frame boxes, but that's a lot of brood to move over in a box um, to get 10 frames of bees. If I was the commercial guy doing thousands of them, I'd do double deeps, 10 frames, 20 frame cell builders. But right now, in 5 frames, I think is a little small. I like 6 frame or 7 frame nukes. So there's insulated hives like the Apamea hives at 7 frames. Those are really good size cell builder frames because I like to put a frame of food in. I like to put 1 pollen frame in. I like to put in 2 capped brood frames in. So that gives me right there, that's 4 frames. I like to put in 1 frame of comb. A foundation only, and then 1 frame of for the graft. So that's 6 frames. And that's another key. I like to put a frame of foundation that's really well waxed. So they make the cells and then they build out that frame. If you don't, sometimes they'll start building out the frame that your grafting frame is on. And you'll have your cell will be wrapped around with comb. So 1 frame is usually on the end. I use, or second from the end. I'll do food. I'll do the plastic foundation. I'll do pollen. I'll do cap brood, grafting, cap brood. Both those cap brood will typically have pollen, the rainbow type cap brood, not a solid brick cap brood. Ones that have some, not even have some larvae in it, but some pollen and honey in the corners. I love those frames, and those are my 6 frames. And then I'll wait 6 days. I used to wait 7 days. So I'll do that on a Saturday, and the following Saturday I'd graft. So I'd get up in the morning, on Wednesday morning, I'd put my frame in, and then I'd graft Saturday afternoon, the following Saturday. But then I go in on the 6th day, but you can do it on the 7th day if you work, and break all those queen cells that are in there, or you can cut them out depending on what frame you took the eggs from. If you put any eggs in there, so now it's queenless, helpless. And then I also, on the day in the morning before I graft, I'll go into my open brood without a queen in it on it. If she's on there, I'll take her off. I really like that's the best because then I know I didn't shake the queen. And then I'll shake 3 more frames of bees in there. So there's basically 9 to 10 frames of bees in that 6 frame box. And then I'll graft. And the hive box will be closed up. And I'll do that in the morning, Saturday morning, shake those bees in, and by Saturday afternoon, all those bees are settled down. And when I graft at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning or afternoon, um, I'll graft my 20 cells or 30 cells, whatever I need, and then I'll stick them in that box right in the center between those two brood frames with the rainbow on them. And then typically I wait 4 days or 5 days. After that, I'll open them up in 3 days. So then on the fourth or fifth day, depending on the weather, I'll go check on them to see how many cells they're building out. And actually, I'm just checking on the 1 or 2 they didn't build out, basically. And then I get an idea how many cells I'm going to have. And then I usually wait till they cap. I mean, the people that are professionals either wait 2 days or 4 days, and then they put them in a finisher with a queen excluder above a hive, and then let them finish those cells out. I let them get capped on the 9th day, and then I'll go ahead and graft again, pull that frame out, put them in my incubator, and then graft again. I like doing that because that gives me a week of new drones coming out, so I have better drone population throughout my properties around me. So I don't like grafting right behind each other. I wait 9 days before I graft. If that all makes sense. And I do that for drones, so I don't deplete the drone population. Because once again, Bob Beanie video they did probably 10 years ago, had a guy on, I can't remember his name, and he talked about queens that got mated by 30 drones were 20 drones or more were 8 times better against mites because of the diversity of genetics. And if they're mated by 30 drones, it was 10 times better against mites. So every one of my hives has a drone frame in them, either a green frame that they built out or a frame with a starter strip on the top of it that's in the third position that they're put mostly all drones in it. Or do a showy frame that Brad talks about. So that'll be in the third position or the 7th position, a drone frame. Now, since I go the warm way, it will be in the 7th position, or maybe even the 6th position. So I like to have a lot of drones. I want my queens mated with at least 30 drones, if not 40 or 50, 60 drones. So I flood every one of my hives. Like I said, it will be maxed out as many drones as that queen lays. So that's another thing I do too. That helps me with being mite resistant. Is not have well mated queens. So like I said, I graft every 9 days just so I have better drones. If I grafted every day or just have 2 cell builders or 4 cell builders and graft every 4 hours, you run out of drones. That's why you buy these queens and they only last 1 season. So Charlie, when he mentions that first year queens are the only queens that are any good, they don't make it second year. That's because they don't have enough drones. They didn't get made good enough. I do use the green drone frames. I have about 10. I think I bought 10 of them some years ago, and I think I have 9 out of 10. I have only one not drawn out, and that's because I lost it with all my frames, and I found it this winter. So I got to get that one drawn out. But I also, my other hives, I'll put in a non-foundation frame in I cut a little strip about a ½ inch wide of plastic foundation, and I'll get a couple drops of wax and seal it in the top bar, and that's my starter strip. And if you put that in position 3 or 7, they'll fill it up with drone comb. And I either have that or I have the green drone frames. If you have the green drone frames, quadruple wax them. Put a ton of wax on them, and they'll draw them out. They don't like drawing those green frames out unless you put a ton of wax on them. Yep, saturation of the DCA with diverse genetics. Yep, that is 100% correct, Raven. So that's what I was talking about. So that's why I still like to catch a few feral swarms or swarms from somewhere else that I can mix those genetics in too every year. So I have the Amish, I have the VHS that I buy every other year about, and a couple of feral swarms. Well, thank you, Redfish. Yeah. So royal jelly, I do eat some of the royal jelly, and I'll eat the larvae with it. Can't be bad for you. I haven't died yet. How many cells needed to produce one serving of royal jelly for human consumption? Oh, Rick, gosh. I mean, one serving, like a teaspoon? Oops, yeah. I have no idea. Well, if you wait 3 days, 2.5 days, where it's got been fed for 10 times, those would be the best ones to take. Because actually, there's probably a 2-day old larvae because they're not too big yet, so they're not consuming all of it. That's a good question. That's a good question to ask. Is what if you want to take royal jelly? What age larvae is the most royal jelly in it? I would think of after a day because the larvae is still pretty small. As you get up to the third day, and you're going to see the royal jelly. So maybe after the third or fourth feeding, which would be about a day later. So I would say it would probably take, if you did that, take a 1 day old larvae, that royal jelly, it would probably take a whole frame for 1 teaspoon of one side. I don't know, 30, 30 or 40 1 day old larvae for a teaspoon. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they do. Actually, I've seen videos on that, and they have like a production line, and those larvae are pretty small in there. So I think they're pulling third, third or fourth feeding, 18-hour old larvae. They pull this larvae out, and then they tip over the cell somehow, or the vacuum hits it and sucks it out. So yeah, it takes a lot. Yeah, that's crazy. I eat probably when I graft, I eat 3 or 4 because I'll if I question my graft is bad, I just eat it. Yeah, big money in royal jelly. You're right, big money. So big question. Can't answer that one. I'd say probably 2,000 cells. Well, you can probably Google how much royal jelly's in a cell, or ask AI that. They probably know. Probably an AI. Ask AI how much royal jelly's in a cell, and then max royal jelly in a cell, and then find that out and see how much it takes to make up a teaspoon. So yeah, it could be. It could. You could find that out with a little bit of digging. Yeah, I just eat, like I said, each time I graft, I probably eat 3, 4 grafts, thimble full. So maybe I get a tenth of a teaspoon a year or 20% of a teaspoon. Yeah, I don't know about 1,000 cells. I mean, there is a little bit in each one of those cups. You definitely can see it. I think the most royal jelly is on a queen cell, one of those easy beasy cups. When they first make that cell and they filled that, I mean, there's a good section in there. That would be the most queen cell. That's got the most royal jelly in it. So less of those. So I don't know if the Chinese run all queen cells then. I mean, they have them in cups like that, about the same size. So those could be queens, and then they take them out and put them up. They graft every continuously. They probably have a whole line of cell builders, and they put in 96 cells in each one of them. And every I don't know, every 2 hours or 4 hours, they're taking it out. Take the cell out, take the larvae out, take the larvae out, and then you got a whole cup, queen cup of royal jelly. So that'd be the way to do it. Grafting. Grafting again. Back to grafting. Queen cells. They have double deeps. They have a whole row of double deeps. And those double deeps, you can put 96 cells in them at a time. Every 2 hours, you can put a frame in. And just keep rotating them. And then every 2 weeks, build that cell builder back up. And you can do that all year. I eat pollen. I mix it in with my yogurt in the morning time. So I have two hives with pollen traps in them, and just for myself to eat pollen with the yogurt. A little bit of honey and a little bit of pollen mixed in. Can't go wrong with that. So every morning when I sit out on my uh, container, um, I'm eating a little bit. I've never mentioned that. My yogurt, it's a little bit of honey in there and a little bit of pollen in there. But pollen only lasts about 6 weeks, then it starts losing its potential. So I do that mostly in the summertime and spring, to about the end of the year. My pollen's getting old. I need to freeze it some. So that's cool. So I don't eat the bee bread, but I eat the pollen. Maybe that's why kids keep me young. Man, I go to the class reunions, high school and that, and it's like, man, everybody looks so old. It's like, nope, not me. I'm staying young. I'm getting younger every year, not older. At least, don't let the old in. So, all right, it's almost 10 o'clock. I think I'm going to wrap it up. So we still got 13 people watching. So next Tuesday I'll be on. I'm going to make it at 7:30 again, not 8 o'clock. I didn't think I was going to make 8 o'clock. I mean 7:30 tonight, but I actually could. I was done about quarter 20 after 7, so I could have done 7:30. So it'll be 7:30 next week, and it'll be cold next Tuesday, so there won't be anything new going on. So we'll just talk about. I don't know. We'll talk about another subject. See what everybody wants to talk about. So everybody have a great night. And see you guys next week or in the next chat. Next tomorrow or Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So thanks for everybody getting on. Great questions today, and everybody have a great week.